It is 7 o'clock on October 28th, and we will call to order the meeting of the Southwick Board of Appeals. With us tonight, we have Paul Gregoire, Mike Parent, Dan Tobias, Chris Mastriani, and Wendy Cordero. Bill Liss is traveling for work, so I had a couple texts back and forth with him. He's not able to join us on Zoom, so he apologizes for that, and we'll have to pick up some of the business that I was gonna try to get over with tonight. We'll have to do that at the next meeting. This meeting is hybrid, being recorded on Zoom and on audio, seeing myself here a little bit too much. Okay, this paperwork, is anything you need to do?
No, it's just like that, letting you know that they're gonna be going. They might be having a hearing with the planning board regarding buffer wetlands.
Okay. No, but nothing we need to. Says Tannery Road, but it doesn't say where on Tannery Road, but.
Somebody bought all that acreage.
Yeah, it's like 90 acres that was sold.
Yeah,
It's pretty close to the line.
98, maybe is that what that is?
Off of 10 and 202 on Tannery.
It's off of Tannery
Road,
And then I think it
as you go
goes
down the hill,
Oh,
Yeah.
it was.
And then it
towards the
goes
bridge.
towards the bridge. And I think the rails and trails run through it as well.
Yeah, it had been broken up. The reason I know is I'm the one who bought it.
You
Okay,
bought that land?
Yeah, it's 37 acres,
Wow.
so we can talk
What's
about
the
that.
plan?
90 acres, which is it?
It's 37. It was originally offered the whole 90, the old
That's what I
Lumbella
remember.
dairy farm, and then it got broken up. But
Somebody just treed that. Somebody just went in.
yeah, that's the one next door. That's
Sure.
the,
Oh, that's not the one you got.
no. All right, let's look at these extensive meeting minutes here. We can talk about that. From August 26th, a pretty short meeting, but we just had the meeting in order to tie up the loose ends from the previous few meetings on that specific application at Lakemont, so. It's pretty simple. Anyone have any comments?
Motion to accept the minutes.
We have a motion to accept the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
I,
Meeting minutes from August 26th are accepted. The appointments to the board were finally done. I don't know do you know exactly when it was? It was like early September.
Yeah.
And I didn't find out about it until I asked the question of the select board, and I was told, oh yeah, it was done 3 or 4 weeks ago. So everybody has been reappointed for this that were due for this year, and that was Mike, Dan, and myself. So for next year, Mike and Dan are again have to have their term refreshed, and Paul, yours is
June.
next year, June of next year, yeah. I'm good through 27 and Bill is good through 26 and Wendy unfortunately has the life sentence and it's called life term. Every time I see that, I just find it amusing that it's referred to like that, but, so that's where we stand on that. It was originally my intention to have the elections for the commission for the chairman and vice chairman and so on and so forth, but after corresponding with Bill, he requested that we delay that until he's here. Unfortunately, the next meeting won't be until the end of November because of Veterans Day. I assume town hall's closed.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Okay, so Veterans Day would have been our next possible scheduled day, so it'll, I think it's the 25th of November, we'll have to
And
at least
what day is Thanksgiving?
25th.
No,
28.
That's Thanksgiving week.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, Thanksgiving week, so we'll have a short meeting.
I'll be off chasing turkeys or something.
We'll have a short meeting just to have get the election out of the way for the year, even though they gotta have to do it again in June, but, all right, and one thing I wanted to talk about is after the select board, after Diane on the select board had happened to look at the videos of the meetings that we had from Lakemont Street, she contacted me and generously pointed me in the direction of the handbook for boards and committees on how we might be able to better handle situations like that. So I went and looked at those references and I put together a more formalized agenda, not real agenda, format, I guess I'm gonna call it, to kind of announce rules and things before we start these meetings, like to try to avoid some of the situations like that. Well, I'll just briefly go through them. Call the meeting to order. That's all basic time attendance, hybrid, and on Zoom. We'll do our paperwork, and then before the actual applications, we're supposed to do ask for if there's anybody at the meeting that's here that wants to discuss something that's not on the agenda. And that would be this little third bullet there. So there's specified in the handbook, there's a 5-minute limit per person. And speakers must follow the instructions of the board members, and there can be no interruptions by other people during that time. So we would hear those comments, but we don't have to do anything about them because
Okay.
it's not an agenda item.
That's speaking things that are not gonna be talked about that night.
Yeah. If somebody has a
That's
public comment
it's
that,
actually the law. that you-
yeah, it's
Because
in
we have to
here.
do that in Westville all the time, and I'm surprised you guys didn't do
Some of
that.
the other boards do it and
Yeah.
they're a little bit better at it than
So,
I have been, but
The
that's,
general public we're talking about here.
yeah.
Anybody and
Just
everybody.
5 minutes, okay.
Yeah. And then we move on to agenda items. So I think before any time we hear a application, we should go through these guidelines is read the public notice, and then I have it written in here that I'll have to edit this is the chairman will announce who's voting on the application that is in front of the board at the time. Petitioner makes the presentation, board members ask questions. The public directs all questions to the board and another 5-minute time limit per person. So the members of the public do not interact directly with the petitioners. I mean, if it's a simple question and, it's not gonna be extremely.
One of the things that we always had to do was, we always said, is there anybody here to speak in favor
Oh, okay.
of the petition?
Oh, okay.
And then you would hear whoever had to do that. And
Okay.
then, is there anybody here to speak against
Okay,
the petition? And then you'd have to hear.
okay,
Mhm.
I'll add that in here. That's good comment. So then the board would take into consideration the comments from the public and get the petitioners' answers to those. And when all that has been satisfied, the public hearing portion of it will be closed. And then we discuss among ourselves the application. We entertain motions, and if we have a motion, then we'll take a vote and announce our decision. And then, as we normally do, we advise the applicant of waiting periods and written decisions and anything like that. And then after that, we'll preview any new business, have any additional discussions, and then adjourn the meeting. So, take these sheets with you and, look through it. If you have any other comments, to send me an email or something, I'll incorporate it in that. But I think we need a more detailed recitation of the rules before the meeting.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know, Paul, but after the circus of the last one, hopefully that's the anomaly, but I could just to say a few sentences before each thing, maybe it makes it more official. And whether it have any effect or not, I'm not sure, but
One of the things that I noticed that I would say 50% of the things that we had come before us, we would delay till the next meeting to do some more research on it.
okay,
And ones that were simple, you would say, is everyone ready to vote now? But if people said, I'd like to delay this to the following meeting so I can do some research
mhm,
on this, so there wasn't always the pressure to vote that night.
yeah.
Especially since they only got 5 minutes to present it.
Oh, no, the 5 minutes is on public comments.
But you as
Yeah,
a
so that's not
member,
the person presenting or proposing.
Yeah, that's not the 5 minute. That's the 5 minute rule doesn't apply to them. That's just people making comments from the audience.
The public.
I don't know, that's what I read, but okay.
Well, I can try to clean that up. I'll look back at what the handbook says and try to just duplicate that. But that's what it is. We're not gonna limit the.
Yeah, you don't have it, you don't have a time limit on the
Yeah.
petition and the questions. It's just public comments.
So,
Well, technically, we give them about 15 minutes for the petitioner.
when we,
If we have more than one, we allow 15 minutes.
okay,
So,
yeah, that's
I mean, if
true.
it's really complicated, then we could push it to
Mhm.
half an hour, but
Yeah, that's when you
That's what
schedule it, we try
yeah.
to do them 15 minutes apart.
we do, yeah.
So we're not just sitting here waiting for that.
Right.
The clock to tick to the next one.
That's
Mhm.
Yeah, this is obviously, I did this in response to how chaotic some of these other meetings have been, so hopefully these will never kick in and have to rely on it, but I think it's good just to have it on there and have it on the recording that we did that, so.
but one of the things Chris said, oftentimes we tried to do is what you did later on, was explain what the zoning board of appeals can and can't do. And then say, the only part of this whole thing that we're studying is this, and set that as a preference or precedent ahead of time,
Mhm.
so that everybody's not all of a sudden jumping up and saying, well, I don't like that guy because he's got blue shut,
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I would always say, this is what the zoning board can and can't do. So therefore, don't
Gonna get off
bring
the-
other
Don't
things
get off the
up,
rails.
because we're not,
Mhm.
I mean, you might feel better that you said it, but we don't have any power over that. So that was always good to state ahead of time what the zoning board can and can do.
All right, well, if we give somebody 5 minutes and then they want to use up that time talking about all the things that don't pertain, then after their 5 minutes, maybe we can say, all right, well, thanks for your comments, but we're only gonna talk
Mhm.
about this. We're not gonna talk about health issues and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, it's a work in progress, but I think it'd be helpful to have something a little bit formalized. So if, read through it, think about it, and if you have any comments, just forward them to me and I'll maybe in the month between now and the next meeting, we can get that finalized.
And after we run it through one time, we'll have a better feeling.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's,
Cause right now it's kind of.
yeah, I know, I just threw it together just to get something better than my handwritten notes of make sure we take attendance, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
That's all I have. Anybody, we don't have any new business coming? Oh, boy, we've really been quiet.
Very quiet.
All right, anybody, let's see, what's this list say? Okay, preview any new business, any additional discussion, anybody? No? And time to adjourn. Do we have, wow, that's, that's really
A
fast.
record.
I do have one thing.
Okay,
From the recent things that happened, Moore Healy passed something about the AUDs. Alternative,
oh,
I don't know,
auxiliary,
dwelling unit or something, ADU.
yeah,
So a single family unit, a single family residence can have a less than 900 square foot house put on their residence. So how would something like that flow down for like bylaws and stuff like that?
You mean like an in-law apartment?
yeah,
Yeah, so I guess with a lot of people working at home, they'll build something small, so it would be like their workspace. Or they're also talking about multi-generational living, where somebody can have two houses on their,
Can't have two houses.
it's
That's what-
an auxiliary dwelling unit. And that's what passed. So I was just wondering how it works, how it flows down.
yeah, I would think it'd have to be something that the town would have to put in.
Get
in
passed by the
bylaws.
state or?
It's in Massachusetts, it's passed in Massachusetts.
And one of the things that's very cloudy also is any of these people that wanna build a low rent or low
Mhm.
cost housing. I think that it kind of throws all the rules out that we don't, there's certain things that and I'm not sure what it is, but there's certain things we can't rule on at all. And it's almost like they get a stamp that says they can do a lot of stuff that is
Exactly.
against the zoning laws.
Yeah,
That's why I'm wondering how this is gonna be flowed down and how it's gonna interact with our zone.
Yeah, I
zoning
know
laws, like you're
Yeah.
saying.
It's not something we specifically touched on before, but I remember when people were building garages and we would say, what's all this, what are you gonna use all this space up above the garage,
Mhm.
Because it's probably big enough to have a little apartment up
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And then it's just gonna be storage, so if it was storage, then we couldn't say anything about it, but if it was. Obviously, well, we're gonna have another little staircase up there, that I don't think that's something we would have been able to allow at the time, but maybe that's gonna change, but I would think that the town would have to put something in the bylaws, just
Mhm.
like solar panels or cannabis or,
Yeah,
something new would have to be put into the Massachusetts general laws first and then get incorporated into
yeah,
the.
I'm just looking at it from Board of Appeals, like violating setbacks and stuff like that. A
Yeah,
garage versus a alternate dwelling unit,
yeah. Yeah, I don't know what, I have to look at the bylaws, because there's probably stuff in there that says, that now says you can't have
That's what I'm
two
thinking.
residences on.
That's what I'm
on
thinking.
one lot,
So far, we can't, right?
right,
This is totally different.
Yeah.
This maybe it came from these people putting up these little, what do they call them, mini houses.
oh, yeah,
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be under 900 square feet.
So it's not, 9 by 10.
Wow. We would put that in the decision that would say this cannot be used as dwelling for, above the garage.
yeah,
That was part of the conditions of the decision, was that this cannot, because when they said we use it as storage, well, 6 months later, they wanna put housing up there and put a bathroom and all that.
yeah,
And we would specifically say that this decision
yeah.
limited people from using that as residence.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree, but I think something that is gonna have to appear in the bylaws that at least addresses or defines what. This ADU is it
Yeah,
above a garage, is this a separate building, is it
Yeah.
is it an addition off the house that has its own,
Yeah, so the way,
electric meter,
the way I read it, it's a separate building.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay, then that gets a little stickier.
Those in-law apartments are allowable.
Yeah,
now, one of the things that I think it was once a year, maybe twice a year. And they used to actually, pay us to go there. They would have a meeting where they would have a couple of attorneys come in and talk about all the rulings.
yeah, we went to one of those once up at the log cabin.
Yeah, but that was
Several years ago.
on the, yeah, sure.
We used to go to them every year.
Hmm.
And, it was, and all the zoning board people and everybody else were all there, and the
Yeah.
attorney would go through all these different things. At the time, it was cannabis, growing
Yeah,
Mhm.
cannabis and what the regulations were.
Early inspector, that's the way you're going to.
oh, okay,
And they had their lawyer telling us.
Yeah. they're basically just telling little anecdotes of,
Yeah, well,
what would happen, what do you think happens when somebody's driveway is on, somebody else's property, but it's in a different town and, but anyway, so, yeah, all right, we'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Yeah,
Deanna.
interesting.
Hopefully that doesn't come up, but, but
if it does, we'll put it on.
it might. Yeah, don't go publicizing that, but,
Yeah, I mean, if somebody decided to build on land that was agricultural or whatever, and decided to build a low rent. Apartment complex, or
Yeah.
what do they call it, rate apartment?
Yeah.
There's not much we can do to stop
I
that, even
think-
though it's not even.
I think that when I was in Agawam, that there was a controversy of, it's all built now. But I think if the town has less than some percentage of housing is subsidized or
Section B, I was saying.
then the zoning laws cannot prevent it from being built.
We have that here, that's statewide, section B.
Yeah, so whatever, I think that might be what you're talking about. So
Yeah. I'm not sure
I
on
don't
the
know
details,
how,
but
how Southwick fits into those details. but,
Have no say, they have no say in it, like you said,
Yeah,
state mandates it.
yeah, but I don't know what percentage of
Oh, yeah.
whether. Because I don't know what the rules and I don't know how close we are to the rule, but we won't dig over that, so. That's all I have. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn and watch the World Series? We have a
Oh,
second,
that's right.
recorded. Celtics around too.
got a second?
Yeah.
Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Go
the
home.
meeting is adjourned at 7:25. Wow. And I guess.